All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We are finally done with our Freddy Krueger flicks episodes. So I don't know what it was about the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. I still don't get it. But those episodes were drawing more listeners than some of our other recent episodes. So I guess thank you for tuning in to those. But
that's cool. Maybe we'll have to hit Freddy vs. Jason and the remake sometime then.
Yeah, we definitely will. I'm still debating whether we should save Freddy vs. Jason for a Friday the 13th episode, or if we should just do something special with that. I don't know. I mean, Robert Englund's getting up there, so maybe we'll save that for like a tribute episode when he kicks the bucket here in a couple of years.
Oh. Well, hopefully that won't happen.
Hopefully not.
Soon. But I think we should stick with it. I think, they gave Freddy the top billing. Maybe it'll somehow link into our Nightmare on Elm Street coverage, when we come back from Flashback next week.
Oh, maybe. Sure.
Maybe we could do something like that. And then, maybe talk about, maybe we could mix it up a little bit. Like we could do Freddy versus Jason, and then do a little thing about Freddy's, the character himself, and then some things about the character of Jason as well. And then the movie itself.
That's not a bad idea. And as we have alluded to for the past couple of episodes, we were doing the Freddy movies leading up to Flashback. So when this episode comes out, you guys are going to be listening to this. If you are listening to this as soon as it comes out, while me and Mark are sitting in line at Flashback weekend at whatever hotel that is in Rosemont, Illinois, and Mark's going to be going, "Hey, that's Nancy Loomis, and she's blowing her nose."
Yeah, this time I'll actually get to say hi to her, which is really cool. Yeah, so all of you that do not know, we are going to Flashback Weekend, which is a annual horror convention in Rosemont, Illinois. It's right by the Chicago O'Hare Airport. I think it's what hotel is this at? Is it at the Marriott?
No, it's something like that. But yeah, it's not at the Marriott. It's at something.
Okay. Yeah, it's some big hotel there. We've been doing this the last 2 years. This will be our third trip there, and
the Crown
this year,
Plaza.
The Crown Plaza. That's right.
Yep.
And this year it's going to be Nightmare on Elm Street related guests. So we've got a lot of the final girls, and Robert Englund himself will be there. So we're really stoked to go check this out. And I don't know if I mentioned this on air yet, but I had recently purchased a replica Freddy Krueger glove, which I'll be bringing to the event. Last year I brought my Friday the 13th Part 5 hockey mask so I could take a picture with Melanie, the beautiful and wonderful Melanie Kinnaman. And she was so gracious to take a couple of pictures with me with the mask. And this year I'll be bringing the Freddy glove. So hopefully I'll get Heather Langenkamp and maybe Lisa Wilcox and Tiffany, if she shows up. Maybe I can get them to take some pictures with the glove. So I think you and I need to do a photo shot with Heather, I think, and the glove. So the three of us, I think that'd be a good shot for her.
I may or may not have something up my sleeve for that very specific thing.
Oh, cool.
I should actually take my Tiffany self-titled LP.
Oh my goodness.
To this, in the off chance that Tiffany Myers is there. Or Kim Myers is there, and have her sign it.
That would be so cool.
And that would be an inside joke that two people would get.
Yes, it would.
But I have said this multiple times. I'm not a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, really, at all. I mean, I do enjoy... I guess I enjoy 4 of the movies, which 4 out of 7 or 7 isn't bad. But
yeah, I like them. some of them, like you.
And yeah, I still was caught off guard how much I actually enjoyed Wes Craven's New Nightmare. But
that's interesting.
I also find it interesting that 3 of the 4 movies that I do like star Heather Langenkamp, and I still don't know why, but I am like giddy to see Heather Langenkamp next week, and I am like beyond stoked to meet Heather Langenkamp, shake her hand. I'm going to have her sign my media version of A Nightmare on Elm Street on VHS.
Awesome.
And I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to have her put a Freddy saying on it or not, just because I know that she was saying how everybody always asks me to put a Freddy saying on it. So I just thought it'd be kind of funny, like, oh, hey, I saw, like, Being Nancy. Oh, I love that movie. Hey, could you put a Freddy saying on there for me?
I'm trying to think of a Nancy quote. Oh, I know one. This is what you could have her say. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Yeah, that's probably what I was going to do. And I'm going to have my custom shirt that I had.
Damn it. I never got a shirt for this. I forgot about that. It's too late now. I'm not going to be able to get anything. I'm going to just have to go Halloween 2 again.
No.
Thankfully, it's going to be all new guests, so I don't have to go visit Amy Steele and with my Halloween 2 shirt. Think I'm like got the same shirt I wear every day.
Yeah, I have my custom A Nightmare on Elm Street shirt that I had made by Norwood Park. You guys should look them up on Instagram. They're great. They put out great shirts. I have like 6 of them right now. Up to this point, only 3 people have seen all 4, I guess, including myself. So Mark has seen a picture of the shirt, and then myself, my wife, and then whoever made the shirt at Norwood Park, they've seen the shirt as well. But
cool.
It's going to be a custom A Nightmare on Elm Street shirt. I actually am psyched to wear it for next weekend. I've been putting it off because the guy that makes them, he always wants you to post a picture of yourself wearing them on Instagram, and he's like, "Oh, dude, you gonna put a picture up?" I'm like, not till after next weekend.
Ooh.
Wait till we get Heather in there.
Very cool.
It would be awesome if I just got Heather to wear it. That'd even be cooler.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I wonder if she'll wear my glove. Or if she'll be like Melanie and say, no, you hold on to that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wonder if she'd have her own. I don't know.
Yeah, she probably will.
Have something. I don't know. So, probably we should get to the topic at hand. We got a little sidetracked there like we usually do on this show, but this episode we are paying homage to the late, great George A. Romero the only way that we know how, and that is to talk about one of his movies, and it just so happens that we picked the topic for this episode to be probably the thing that everybody thinks of when they hear the name George A. Romero, and that is Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, we went with the 1968 classic horror film, black and white. I think that was his, I didn't do much research before this episode, so I'm thinking this was probably his first full-length movie, because I know he was doing some commercials and stuff while filming it. I did read something about that where he had to go back and forth, like, to make some money, he'd have to go shoot some commercials and then come back and work on this. And, the cool thing about this movie, Night of the Living Dead, just like pretty much every single classic horror movie that had any sort of impact on anybody, obviously Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw, Carpenter's Halloween, and it falls in line with the same deal. It's like this was just a kid with his camera and no money, and he ends up making a classic. It's really funny how these movies that stand the test of time come about. It's like, it's never like a big studio production. It's like just low budget kind of thing and a lot of talent, and boom, and this is what he's known for is these Dead movies. But Night of the Living Dead is where it all began.
Every time I watch Night of the Living Dead, I'm always reminded of Psycho, not because the film resembles Psycho in any way. It's just because it's of that same caliber. You know, it's this black and white, nothing movie. I mean, if you were to really break it apart, there's nothing that is spectacular about any one piece of the movie, but you put the whole thing together and it's this masterpiece. Mm-hmm. And it almost makes, no sense why it is that way, but it is. And this movie has all of the history that it has of it. I mean, this came out in 1968 and it's 2017. So we're, 49 years into this movie being out there. When you watch it, it has all of these different elements to it. It has, I can't imagine in the 1960s, the late 1960s, you had this movie that came out that had a lead black character in it. Mm-hmm. And then you get towards the end of the movie, then you have a child who murders a couple of people. It's just like, damn, this movie had to be controversial as hell back in 68.
Oh, yeah, and then you've got the cannibal scene.
Oh, yeah.
Which, actually, that scene freaked me out when I first saw it. Do you remember when you first saw this one?
No, I don't.
Back when I was a kid, and I'm guessing around like 5th or 6th grade, maybe 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere around there is when I first saw this. It was on, I think it was the USA Network, because I always talk about Saturday Nightmares. They had like a special on there that played horror movies. Back in the 80s, like it seemed like they had, at once nighttime hit, like a lot of channels, like USA Network, I think TNT, and I think a few others on cable, when they would kind of go straight horror movie, especially USA Network. That was a big one. And they played this movie a lot, it seemed like. And I remember being up alone. My parents were sleeping, my brother was sleeping, and I was watching it. And I didn't know what it was, and it was black and white. And I wasn't really, it was kind of like, oh, what's this? But it hooked me. And, as a kid back then, a black and white movie, you're kind of like, nah. But this one, for, I remember watching it, and I'm like, whoa. And then like they got to the cannibal scene, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're showing this. It was actually literally shocking to me. And then this, like you said, the scene with the little girl, and when she kills her, that's her mother, right? With the little hand shovel. And I mean, those were some pretty shocking scenes to see on regular TV. Well, it was cable TV, but it wasn't like a movie channel. It was like the standard cable or whatever with commercials. And then I remember, like, it was weird because right after I saw it, my uncle purchased it for me, and like on Halloween, they'd always sell it for probably just a couple of bucks or something on VHS, and I had it on, and I remember him getting that for me. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this is that movie I watched, and actually ended up, it's kind of funny. Do you remember how you could take? There was that little tab on VHS tapes, and any store bought tape, or like a real movie, that tab was broken off so you couldn't record.
Yep.
And then you just took a piece of tape over it, and you could record over the movies. And that's what I did. Like, I guess I probably didn't really care that much for Night of the Living Dead back then, but I remember we ended up taping over it, which is kind of funny.
So how much, I wonder how much movie actually got on that.
I know. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, it's not to get too far off topic, as a lot of out there, I've, in the past couple of years, I guess it's been more than a couple of years ago now. Maybe it's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something, but been getting into collecting VHS tapes, and it is hilarious. You'll get some of these tapes, and it'll be a 2-hour movie, and the reel will be full. Like, it'll be from the little spindle thing to to cover the whole little plastic viewing piece on there. It'll all be tape, and then you'll get another tape, and it'll be a 2-hour movie, and there will be like an inch
Oh yeah.
of tape in there. You'd be like, oh, wonder how
Yeah.
that is. And then you pop them in. And I have a good example of this because I have a box set that has Hellraiser 1 and 2 in it. And the other day, when I was doing some stuff, I pulled that out and I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't seen Hellraiser in a while. I'm going to watch Hellraiser. So I threw that on, and the infamous scene that we've talked about on here a bazillion times, which got me again the other day, is they're carrying the mattress up the stairs, and the guy scrapes his hand on the back of the nail. Still gave me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, the Hellraiser tape literally has like maybe an inch of tape, and I'm like, oh, well, this isn't going to be any good. Put it in. Shitty freaking quality. It's just horrible.
Yeah, I had a back in the 90s. I picked up Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4. It was like a double thing, and it was real cheap. And then it was like that. Yeah, there was barely any tape, and the quality was terrible. And then like there's the Friday the 13th franchise did that too. It's like if you're a collector, you want to get I forget what it's called, but the cover art looks exactly the same. The only difference is when you turn it around, there's like a new logo, like underneath the Paramount logo on the back, I think, and I can't remember what the new logo is, but it was a different distributor or whatever. They did the cheapened version. So I have like most of the Friday the 13th movies on VHS, but my Part 7 is the cheaper version, so it's like the less film was like, on the tape itself. Not that I haven't watched it, but it's just a collectible for me. But I would like to upgrade and get the better older version. But my same thing with my original Texas Chainsaw Massacre VHS. That was originally released in Media. Media released that.
Oh, Wizard.
Wizard in the beginning, but then in the 80s, Media came out and released Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was like a lot of tape, the good quality or whatever. But then Video Wizard or Video Treasures or something like that did it, and the thing that kind of screwed me up, and I didn't know about it, was that the cover art is exactly the same as Media, like the front and back of the box, unless you know what to look for. Like if you didn't know that Media was the one, because it doesn't have the Media logo on it, has Video Treasures or whatever. And then I looked at it, and sure enough, there's like barely any tape. But kind of for that movie, it'd probably be kind of cool because that movie's so grimy and gritty as it is.
Yeah, I was looking. It was yesterday. I was looking on eBay at old tapes. I don't remember what I was looking for, but I ended up looking at the original Halloween tapes.
Yes.
And I want to say that was Media that came out with Halloween first.
Well, no, actually it was Wizard that came out first.
Was it Wizard?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, wait, hold on. I might be wrong. No, maybe it is Media.
But
because they have a yellow case, like the outside is like yellow or orange or something.
And it's orange, and it's funny. So there was a couple that it was just the box only, no tape, just the box, $100.
That's crazy.
I'm like, what? And I don't get the movie.
Yeah, I actually have the Media version of Halloween, the original. It's kind of an interesting story too, and it's kind of cool. The version I have still has the Saran wrapping on it, but like the bottom's ripped off. So whoever purchased it back in the 80s when this came out, ripped out the Saran wrap and put the movie in and put it back in and kept the Saran wrap over it. And the reason being, I don't know if you remember this or not, and I remember this happening because the Blockbuster Video version had this. And it really kind of ticked me off. But Media was, I think that original version of Halloween was Media, the orange box. I'm pretty, it might not have been Wizard. It might have been Media. I don't know, either way. But anyhow, that's the most collectible one with the orange. But then they released it again a little later, and it was all black or whatever the color of the case is. And then they might have released it one other time. But anyhow, the last release of Media that released when their last release of Halloween, which would have been like the late 80s, like maybe 88, 89, somewhere around there. They accidentally released the TV version with all the edited, all the gore cut out. Which, I mean, there's not that much gore in Halloween, but like you don't see Bob get stabbed to the wall; he just gets lifted up by the neck, and you see the smaller holes at the beginning of the movie when Michael puts on the mask as a kid and he goes to stab his sister, and then it has added scenes that only the TV version had. But anyhow, in like that late version they accidentally released that one, and on the back of the box, like the original, like I remember a mutual friend of ours, he purchased the version like the right before they did the TV version on accident, so he had that copy, and for forever, like if you turn the box over, they had like 3 or 4 movie stills on it. Like they had the picture of Michael attacking Laurie in the closet, they had a picture of Laurie with holding the needle, and then they had a picture of Bob and Linda making out on the bed. And that was like the back, like you turn the box over, they've got those photos. And the box for that they accidentally released the TV version, like the front cover is the same. It's the the Halloween logo with the pumpkin and the butcher knife. But when you turn the box over, it just has one photo, and it's the photo of Michael's hand breaking through the door when he's chasing Laurie. And I remember, like, Blockbuster Video at the time, that's the version they had as their rental, as their only rental. And I was like, what the hell? Like, when I rented it, I'm like, this isn't right. And then, sure enough, then I read somewhere that they accidentally released the TV version.
Yeah, because Media had two. Yeah, they had the 2 versions. They had the orange one and then the later one.
Okay, so that orange one was Media then.
Yep.
Okay. So anyhow, Night of the Living Dead.
I was just going to say, yep, Halloween works its way into every episode. It's insane.
Does. Yeah,
we should go ahead and talk about Luke Skywalker here for a second, just to
and my mother too. We got to bring her up.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring your mother up at all when you were talking about the first time you saw Night of the Living Dead. I was like,
no, I was thinking about that, and she had nothing to do with this one. I don't think she hadn't seen it, and I don't think she knew anything about it, and I don't think she cared about it either. She was never a zombie fan. And I think that goes to say, too, that I myself I wouldn't even call myself a zombie movie fan. Like, I'm not a big Walking Dead guy. Actually, I haven't followed it for years now. I kind of followed it a little bit a few years back, but then I sort of fell out of it. And, like even like the remakes like Dawn of the Dead, and everybody loves that stuff. And then the, 28 Days Later and all the zombie movies that have been, Resident Evil or whatever else is out there. It's like, we're not Resident Evil. No, yeah, Resident Evil, right? That's like virus or zombie or whatever. But I'm not a zombie guy. I'm really not this subgenre of horror has never been a big thing for me. Like, I never cared that much about it back in the day. I mean, like I didn't see the original Dawn of the Dead until I was like in my probably either late 20s or early 30s, and I just didn't care. It was like I'm a slasher guy, I guess. I think that's like my favorite subgenre. But I did go back and revisit the classics, and I will say though, out of all the zombie movies I have seen, and I've seen all the big ones, and I've seen Romero's films, and I've even seen some of his newer ones like Land of the Dead and all that, and which I don't remember it, but I did see it. I will say that my favorite all-time zombie movie is this 1968 Night of the Living Dead.
It's not shocking that you're not a zombie movie fan and you like this movie. I think in George A. Romero's eyes, this technically wasn't a zombie movie. He wasn't out to make a zombie movie, and they were never referred to as zombies. They were referred to as ghouls.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I saw an interview with him at one point where he was like, yeah, they didn't become zombies until later on. But I don't know, and this could be false, but zombies I think are a little bit different than some of the other classic monsters that we're used to, the vampires and werewolves and mummies and, all of that, creature from the Black Lagoon or whatever. But I don't know if there was ever really any rules for zombies. And if you want to classify this as a zombie movie, that'll get me to my first thing that I wanted to talk about with this movie, even though we've kind of already touched on a few things. But you have the opening scene to the movie with Barbara and whatever brother's name is at the cemetery. He's teasing her, Barbara, they're coming for you. They're going to get you, Barbara. And you have the ghoul off in the distance, and then he's coming up and he attacks her, and then he saves her, and she gets in the car and takes off down the hill. Well, that zombie was running after her. So that right there breaks the first rule of zombies. Zombies don't run.
Yeah,
they
that's
they lumber along.
Yeah, well, yeah, they kind of, and then they changed that a bit because, like in Dawn of the Dead, didn't they? The remake, didn't they run in that one?
Yeah, in some of, like, if you ever seen like the what is it, World War Z or whatever, I mean, those things were like sprinting.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, another one too. You just reminded me was I Legend. That was another one. That's another zombie whatever type film.
Well, that's another thing I have on my list here.
When it comes to horror movies, like what I've noticed about myself is typically it's simplicity that makes it better for me. And I'm going to just have to mention it again. But yes, John Carpenter's Halloween. I know we talk about it all the time. But the movie is so simple. There's nothing to it. It's not like, it's just a very simple story and a very simple movie. And it's so effective because of that. Even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another one. Very simple, very low budget, very, not many new locations. It's like all based in one location, basically. And I think that's what the appeal to this movie is for me, is that, it's basically just people stuck in a farmhouse, and these ghouls, zombies, whatever you want to call them, coming to get them. And, how do they survive it? And, the relationships within the house. And it's so simple and so simplistic that I think that's what makes it so scary. Like, you don't need to make this a complex, like a bunch of locations and all of that. And I think like the later films, they do that. Well, at least Land of the Dead, which is way, way, way later. That was like more all over the place. But this one, it's just, and that's what horror movies work so well in, like small, limited locations. Like, Halloween, you had a few houses that the babysitters were at. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you had a farmhouse. That's pretty much all you had, and the horrors that were going on in there. And this movie, another farmhouse movie. And I think that simplicity makes it so scary. Plus the black and white thing, that just kind of something about that, because that it was filmed a long, long time ago, and it's like, I don't know, there's something that's kind of creepy about that.
That was one of the points I was going to talk about too. Back in I guess even you could come from the late 50s to almost, 1980 really. But they had these horror movies, and not all horror movies, but they had some that, they just went into what was going on, because that's what this one was. You have this opening scene in the cemetery, and Barbara's attacked by this ghoul, and she runs off into a farmhouse. There's no, like, okay, we're going to set the tone for this. We're gonna have some pacing going on here. Nope. This is a horror movie. She's attacked. She's gonna run off to this farmhouse, and we're just gonna start this shit, and we're gonna go from here. There was one point where they were even trying to explain what's going on, but you can even kind of see in the movie they're like, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's just let the movie happen. Because where they're like, oh, there was this thing from space and it maybe had some radiation, but we're not sure. You know, and it's like one of those scenes where like, what? That's the only thing with this movie that I was like, oh, you probably could have left that piece of it out because I don't care. Just so you have these things that are coming back to life from the dead, and oh, they're eating people. Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, I think the less you know about why things are happening, the scarier it is, and I think that's one of the reasons why this movie works. I think is because it's so minimal. It's minimalist. You know, there's no real. I mean, yeah, they kind of do the radiation thing and all that, and they do those little news reports and all, but there's so much you just don't know, and I think that makes it really, really creepy. Kind of like, and that's one thing too. I'll talk about a new movie that's coming out, this new Leatherface movie, which is I guess supposedly a prequel to the original film. It's like there's a scene in the trailer, and the trailer's getting a lot of buzz right now in the horror community, where Leatherface is a child, and his mother gives him a chainsaw for his birthday present. And to me, that is the most ridiculous and stupid idea ever. We do not need to see that. That is the worst idea ever, because Leatherface doesn't. It's not like, you know, the idea of him getting a chainsaw from his mom for his birthday, and that's why he used it in the original film. No. It's just happened to be there, and he picked it up. That's the only reason. There's no family lineage or some sort of sentimental value to it. And they do things like that nowadays. They try to do these backstories that explain everything. And so this movie we're going to see about what he was like as a kid. I really don't want to know what Leatherface was like as a kid. He's a hell of a lot scarier as a big dude with a skin mask on, running out of a farmhouse, and I don't know who he is or what he's about. All I know is he's got a chainsaw and everybody's got to run from him. That's scary. And that's why this movie, I think, is effective in that there is no real backstory. There's not much that you just know a little bit, and they get little snippets on the news, and that's why horror works. When you're the scariest stuff in the world is the stuff you don't really know much about. Outer space can be scary because we don't know much about it. The dark room in the dark closet in the room that you never go into is scary because you don't ever go in there. It's that's what makes it scary. We really don't need to know about too much stuff, and that's what I think George A. Romero with this film is. You knew all you needed to know, and that's what made it pretty scary. And I remember as a kid watching this movie, thinking it was really effective. I'm like, this is a really good movie. It's black and white and kind of dated and all that, but it's actually pretty damn good. And this is back in the time when, I'm probably Michael and Jason and Freddy guy, and that's my horror stuff. And here's this black and white zombie film that is nothing like those films, but it's wow, this is a really good movie.
One of the things I was going to say with this one too, it's kind of funny if you do some reading. I mean, George A. Romero was, he did pass away last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, because we were recording last time when he passed away. But he was he was older, which I guess good for him. Sucks for everybody that was a George A. Romero fan. That is the one thing, anytime you see when some of these older people die and everybody's with social media and all this stuff now, and you're like, oh my God, that's too bad. And you're like, no, he was 105 and he had cancer for 14 years. It's a good thing he died. Yeah. But, like you had said, with this movie, I mean, there were a bunch of nobodies out making this movie, had no idea what they were doing, and pretty much the premise of this movie was kind of a ripoff of I Am Legend. So instead of seeing the end of the story, George A. Romero was like, well, why don't we go ahead and write what was the beginning of that story? And so that's kind of where this whole thing began with. Again, it wasn't supposed to be necessarily zombies, which I always am curious is, when did you come up with that idea? All right, so we're going to do this thing, and then, Oh. Oh, those are zombies. Well, hell, let's run with that, and let's make, like, a bazillion sequels off of it. And what we were talking before we started recording, you know, this probably is the most ripped off, at least name in horror history, if not franchise. You know, I mean, there's you can search for Living Dead and you'll find, you know, there was the Tom Savini remake back in 1990, and then there was every other thing that came off of it, but then there's also all these, like, Return of the Living Dead, Resurrection, and Return of the Living Dead Reanimated, and all these other things that are, I'm assuming, I guess I didn't do too much digging into it, but they're probably blatant ripoffs of all of this stuff. And then...
And there was a Flight of the Living Dead, too.
Oh, man, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, tons of ripoffs.
And then, like what we were saying, which I don't think we really touched on, but one of the things that happened with this was the copyright or the trademark, because of something, you know, after they released it, got messed up. Night of the Living Dead is a public domain movie, and it has been, I think, since pretty much it came out. You know, that's one of the reasons why you see it everywhere. I'm pretty sure you could watch it on YouTube right now if you wanted to. Actually, I watched it on YouTube that long ago. It's out there forever. It's one of these, I don't know if I have this on video at all. I don't know if I have a VH copy of this or a DVD copy of it. I was thinking I did, but I don't know if I do.
I have it. I know I finally picked it up on DVD a few years back. It was like when I was going through and just trying to get all the classics, I made sure to grab this one. So I do have it on DVD. I don't think I have a VHS version. I'm wondering if, like, it's one of those movies that kind of gets somebody, somehow it always kind of ends up in your collection. You never know how it got there.
Right.
Like on VHS, and so I don't think I have it though on VHS, and I don't think I have like my old like we talked about, like I had one as a kid, but that's long gone. And
well, the other thing too with that is I don't know if, you know, this is one of those movies that you see so often that you don't remember where you watched that. Like, oh yeah, I just watched that the other day on somewhere. Maybe it was on TV. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it like 3 times in the past 2 weeks, and I don't, you know, I mean, other than when I watched it earlier today, I don't remember where I watched it because I was like, hey, I'm watching it now. So
Blockbuster, actually, I forgot about this. Like, there was a time when Halloween was on moratorium, and Blockbuster actually bought the rights for Halloween, and they sold their own VHS version of Halloween. This was like in the mid '90s. And I remember purchasing that because that was the first time it was available for after media went bankrupt or whatever happened to media. But prior to Halloween being available, there was a Blockbuster video, you know, version of Night of the Living Dead that was available for sale. And I remember seeing that, like you'd go up to the front counter and there would be, you know, you could purchase the movie if you wanted to. The days of the chain VHS stores. Or video stores.
I bet you that copy of A Night of the Living Dead was highly illegal.
Probably. Yeah, probably because it was, well, yeah, because nobody owned the rights, so Blockbuster was making some money off of it. It's a great horror movie. It's a great classic horror movie, and it's like really kind of the beginning of this whole undead zombie thing that, you know, just a few years ago it became this huge pop culture thing. But I think this is like, if you really want to see where it all began, this is it. Watch this, and then go watch Michael Jackson's Thriller, and then you'll know where it all started.